Hey everyone, it's Michael, Goosebumps fan. Today we're going to be talking about a show that is kind of like Goosebumps, or a thing that is like Goosebumps. This is a VHS tape that I love to death, and I watched it over and over and over again when I was growing up. This VHS tape is a couple of episodes, if not a few episodes, but really on IMDb it says it's just the first episode. I guess it's kind of like a short TV movie type thing, miniseries, whatever you want to call this. It's basically 4 episodes, really, like 18 minutes long each, put into one VHS tape, about an hour and 10 minutes in total. It's called Archie's Weird Mysteries, and this particular VHS tape is Archie and the Riverdale Vampires. I don't know how many of these VHS tapes they released with these episodes on it. Not these specific ones, but this show on it. I love this show. It ain't great. It ain't perfect. It's not beautifully designed or anything like that. But this is my exposure to Archie. Aside from the horrible Riverdale TV show, I watched the first season of it. I liked a big chunk of it. Hated the finale of the first season. Started watching season 2. I was disappointed over that too, so I just quit, right? Like, this is my Archie right here. Never read the comics before, anything like that. I love this VHS tape. It's always been fun, always kind of eerie, and I just love the atmosphere to it. It had that fun atmosphere like some of the, for example, that PBS show, Arthur. You had an Arthur Scary Stories, I think is what it was called, VHS tape, that I loved to death when I was growing up too. I hope to get a chance, God willing, to review that this month as well. Really cool stuff. Archie's Weird Mysteries, man. This was a fun ride. It really was a fun time to watch this again right now. It's been a couple of years. It's been a few years since I've seen this. This first episode basically, well, I guess if you could call it first episode, it's really like a TV movie type thing. But again, I don't know how many episodes made it to VHS tape releases. I don't think there were many, from what I can tell. I could be wrong, but still. There's only like one season of this show. It went from 1999 to 2000. And it was like 40 episodes in total. And they were all kind of like little short stories, kind of like Hey Arnold used to do, where you'd have like a particular episode was divided up into 2 halves. Kind of like when Billy and Mandy used to be on. You'd have like Evil Con Carne come on in the middle of the show, and then you have another Billy and Mandy episode at the end of that. It's kind of fun times. 90s were really weird times for cartoons and stuff. This show is really weird, especially the way it's designed, but I love it. It's so much fun. It brings me back to that time when I loved things like the Iron Giant and Ed, Edd and Eddy and so many things that I love. I'm a big animation person. I love animation. I love children's horror, whether it be with books like Goosebumps and Skeleton Creek and all of that, or whether it be something like this that's just kids' horror, straight out. It's kind of silly, kind of goofy, kind of not that well made, but still great. Still something I love to death. Archie's Weird Mysteries, man. Where do you start with this show if you have seen it? Most people have probably not seen this. I could not recommend this VHS tape enough. If you can find it on DVD, I'd recommend it there too. The first portion of like 4 episodes, I would say, if I had to say, I would say there's 4 episodes kind of blended into this one VHS tape. The first piece of this is about potatoes, right? Now, of course, the show follows Archie, and you have Jughead, his buddy, and you had Betty and Veronica, and now there's like Reggie and some other kid with glasses that I don't know who this kid is. I forgot his name already. But you had those folks. I thought it was always just Archie, Jughead, Betty, and Veronica. I don't know about who Reggie is or anything. It's weird stuff, man. But anyway, you had those folks. And in this situation, basically Jughead wins a contest. I'm watching like a monster movie marathon thing, and he wins like a potato, and the potato comes to life, right? But not really, it's not like talking and dancing and stuff, but it actually grows these green vines out, and if they wrap themselves around you, you get turned, like the potato will like blossom out into like a clone of you that's like evil, and it's like kind of like a zombie type thing. It's kind of a play on the couch potato idea. They even reference that in the episode itself. But now you have these terrors that Archie has to go through with Betty and Veronica and everyone about copies being made of people out of potato vine things, whatever these alien potatoes are. And the whole backstory about how the potatoes came to be is just fantastic. It's so goofy and silly. I love it to death. It's like something Tales from the Dark Side would have come up with if you know about that show. It's really fun, it's really ridiculous, and it's fantastic. I love it to death. But then you start turning into a vampire type thing, which is really, really cool. And like the next portion of the show, like two-fourths of this episode, the rest of the DVD is mostly, or the VHS tape is mostly focused on vampires getting into the town. There's a new girl in town, her name is Scarlet. She talks to Archie and them. Archie kind of has a crush on her. and there's like this amulet thing that may or may not help destroy vampires and stop vampires. It's like a silver cross, but it has like a little golden or like amber like amulet jewel thing in the middle of it. It's kind of okay, but I actually enjoy the events. I think the events are pretty fun. I think that the voice acting is terrible in this show every single time. And when really top-notch action happens, like people wrestling over the amulet, right? Like wrestling in beds and on floors and trying to fight and push each other away and stuff, you start losing frame rate, right? And it's not the VHS fault. It's the way the show was made, the way it's animated. It's animated horribly. Sometimes you have situations where the voice actors are talking so fast that the words of the mouths, the movements, aren't even lining up with what the actors are actually saying, which is very common in 90s and 80s cartoons. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I'm old enough where I know that. I'm a big enough fan of animation that I know those things. But this show has some drastic problems, some editing issues. You'll just have a random end of a scene and flash immediately over into like a kind of like a fade in to the next scene almost immediately, but they kind of blend over each other, so it gets really sloppy. It's a very sloppily made show. I don't think I've ever realized that until now watching it. But I still had a great time, and I think it was probably more for nostalgic sake than anything else. So if you're a big Archie fan, maybe you'll love this. If you're a big cartoon fan, maybe you'll enjoy this. If you're a big Halloween fan, maybe you'll enjoy this. Not the movies, but the season, the fall time type thing. This is very focused on the fall, and I love it. I wish I could see the rest of the show. I hope it's on like Amazon Prime or something, or Vudu, or one of those things so I can get my hands on this show, because I want to see all of it, man. It feels like my kind of show that I would love to death. But, yeah, it has a lot of kind of crazy wildness to it. There's a lot of insane stuff, like trying to stop vampires by eating garlic cheeseburgers with a lot of garlic on them. Just really weird, wonky things that I would never think of in my entire life. Vampire clowns. That's pretty cool. Some cool stuff here. I really dig it. There's a lot of plot twists involved in those last 3 episodes of this, what I would say, 4-episode VHS tape collection, movie, TV movie, whatever you want to call this thing. I had a really good time watching it. I couldn't recommend it enough. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it because I don't want to ruin too much for you guys if you haven't seen it before. But Archie's Weird Mysteries, Archie and the Riverdale Vampires, very fun show. At least this few episodes, or this one episode if it's just one. I don't know what to call it. If you haven't seen the show before, I'd recommend it. If you can get your hands on the whole series, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have seen the whole series, all 40 episodes according to IMDb, I would love to hear your thoughts down below on what you think about this show. I want to see all of it. Even the theme song is fun. It's like just, I don't know how to describe it. If you've heard the song, you know what I'm talking about, especially when the word weird is sang. It's kind of like this cool sci-fi noise. Really weird show, really fun show, very sloppy show, but very enjoyable. And even the humor works sometimes, especially with Jughead. I loved Jughead when I was a kid. I don't know why, I just did, especially in this show, because this is really my exposure to Archie, like I said. But I loved Jughead in this show. I don't know why, I just did. He was great. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the show if you have seen it? Put your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below, folks. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If I had to rate this movie, or this VHS tape, or whatever you want to call this, on a 5-star basis, as sloppy as it is and as ridiculous and over the top as it is, with live potatoes and stuff and clones being produced from potatoes, I love it. I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think it is such a mess, but a great mess, like a fun mess to watch. You can't take your eyes off of it when you're watching it. But it also, again, the pacing is pretty much ruined, because it almost feels at times like just singular episodes just kind of cut over top of each other in the editing process. And it gets really, really just insanely bizarre. It's just, the pacing is ruined. But it's great. It's fun. I recommend it tremendously if you haven't seen it before. But anyway, do I have any Archie fans here on the channel? I'm kind of curious. I have a lot of older people, like people my age and stuff, on this channel. And I want to know if you guys have any exposure to Archie outside of the Riverdale TV show or the comics or anything like that. What do you think? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are specifically down in the comment section down below. But anyway, thank you for watching. May the Lord Jesus Christ bless you guys today. 4 out of 5 stars. Goodbye.